All right. I'll just do a little
Okay.
sting once we're on.
Okay.
Lesedi Mfolo is with EasyEquities, and it's the end of the quarter, Lesedi. In fact, well, first day of the new quarter. And we like to catch up with you on what's going on at South Africa's biggest retail stockbroker, what people have been buying, what they've been selling in the past quarter. So, what's top of the pops for the second 3 months of the year?
Thanks, Alec, for having me. I thought you guys have forgotten about us here, company in Braamfontein, Easy Equities, and myself included. But it's nice to see you guys again and to be on the podcast. So in the smallest or biggest retail stockbroker in South Africa, we've seen a huge shift in the top five. But one remains is Cecil, a firm favorite with its volatility it's experienced in the earlier of last year. So Cecil dropping to, I think it was 21 Rand, and started the year strong with 130 Rand and then doubled in April. So not a surprise to see it jumping up there and being number one. And then second, we have a firm favorite of mine, a company that owns the Easy Equities, the Purple Group, which has had a spectacular 6 months, if I could say. And
You guys
Easy
are
Equities
also,
just,
Lesedi, sorry,
excuse me,
we also have you in our portfolio, in the BizNews portfolio.
you
And I
finally
made a
added us
real,
in your portfolio.
but what a dumb thing. I bought it in the portfolio over 3 months instead of buying it all at 120 cents when it was there. So we bought our last lot now at 151. I mean, you must have bought into your own company, I guess, a lot lower than that. It's really been a spectacular performance.
Yeah, I mean, the goodwill is crazy now. I mean, Easy Equities just hit 1 million retail investors.
Wow,
That's huge. It's
a
honestly
million.
big. 1 million, yeah.
Because last we
So
were talking, it was around 800,000. So it continues to grow. Well done.
it's been
Congrats.
that long, Alec. That's why you should have us here more often. So Easy Equities has hit 1 million registrations on its platform, and I mean, a lot of factors came into play. There was COVID-19, the partnerships with Capitec, but I mean, it's all happening at Purple Group, and I mean, we saw our biggest month of investors this month just hitting the 18,000 mark. So there's been over 18,000 investors that have invested into Purple Group via Easy Equities this month, which is, I think, is huge.
That's huge. So who's number three?
Number three, we've got obviously the blue chip company Naspers. And I mean, when you hear Naspers, all you can think about is share swap. That's all you can think about. And as a holder in both Naspers and Process, it will be awfully nice to see these stocks finally live up to its fair value. And I think most of the easy equities investors would like to see the same thing happen. And if it doesn't happen, it would be a huge disappointment to all of the investors in Naspers. So I'm hoping for the best there. And
Yeah.
then
That one's trading at around, I think, 55% discount to its 10-cent shareholding at last call. But you're right. It's all to do with the share swap. Are you going to swap your Naspers shares for Process? You personally?
it's a tricky one right now. I'm not too sure, but it. I'm on the fence. I'm currently on the fence. I can't tell you right now, but I'm still on the fence about that.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
And then fourth, we have Sibanya, which is really not a shock. I mean, the topic of mergers has featured with this company, Sibanya. When people are looking at Sibanya, they see it as trading at a discount compared to its fellow counterparts like Anglo and Goldfields. So I think it's an interesting time for gold as well. So I kind of think that people are seeing Sibanya as a great value stock at this point in time, and I guess only time will tell. And then last but not least, we've actually got Anglo Gold Ashanti. And in my books, Anglo has had one hell of a year. I mean, its lack of a permanent CEO, its suspension of its gold mine operations, weighing on its stock. It's a tricky one, but I think that people are seeing it as a good time to get into Anglo because it's kind of trading at a discount right now, if you could call it that. But we'll see what the future has installed for Anglo Gold.
Yeah, it's been the worst performer by some distance of the gold mine. So I guess value investors are saying, hang on, it's going to catch up at some point in time. What have your guys been selling? Have you got that data for us?
Yeah, so it's not really different. I mean, if we're looking at the top five again in terms of sellers on Easy Equities, number one would be Cecil, number two would be Purple Group, number three would be MTN Group, number four Sibanya Stillwater, and then lastly would be PPC.
Okay, so EPPC and MTN are the two different ones there. So the
Yes.
net inflows, net outflows. Interesting that I guess PPC would be profit taking, maybe MTN as well profit taking. Both of those have done very well in the past 3 months.
Yeah, especially PPC. I really enjoyed seeing the PPC stock grow in my Easy Equities account, and it was an interesting one for me to see it on the sell side in the top five, because I'm still a holder of PPC.
What got you into the share? I'm interested because we've only kind of tumbled onto it recently. I had a fantastic interview with Roland van Wijnen, the CEO, who's is a sensible guy. You can see he's got his head screwed on straight. He knows exactly what he's doing with the business, and it looks to me like, sure, it's gone up a lot, but it's only just beginning its run.
Exactly. It's on its rally. Hey, it's rallying up, and it's to that point that you mentioned, Alec, is the reason why I actually invested in PPC. I mean, last year it was a difficult time, but then this year and towards the end of last year, I literally did a bit of research into it, and I saw this is a stock that I could hold for about 4 to 5 years, and I believe in the CEO. That's it.
Well, doing the research actually is what counts. It makes the difference, doesn't it, with between investing and punting.
Yeah, that's true.
How,
And I
how
think
long do your guys generally hold on to the shares for? You know, if you've got 1 million people now who are trading uh, or buying equities through Easy Equities, we know that you can buy in chunks of 100 Rand. So that makes it incredibly accessible, the fractional investing. But generally speaking, are you finding that your clients are becoming investors, in other words, buying and holding, or are they in there for a bit of a dabble?
you know, w- I work closely with the data, and what I've seen with the data is that people are actually coming to Easy Equities for that sense of ownership, to own something. And with ownership comes time. And people are realizing that I'm going to own the share or a fraction of the share, and I'm going to hold it for a specific amount of time. I'm going to hold it for longer than a period of 2 years or 3 years. And I think people are slowly starting to understand that aspect of not just timing the market, but time in the market. So I think they're starting to understand that it's all about the time. It's not about the timing.
You've done a great job then on educating the public on that one. Have you got any data for us on the international action?
Yes, and that's it's been a bloodbath there for the most of the US spring. But I definitely do. And obviously, number one, nothing has changed. Is number one is Tesla, the most talked about share out there. I mean, people love Elon Musk, and it's always there on the Easy Equities top five. But the stock is down about 3% around there, and I think that Easy Equities investors believe a lot in Tesla, and there's room to run within Tesla. And thanks for the rising demand in EVs and a good second quarter of delivery numbers, and it's about to release its production numbers in the upcoming days. I think people are very optimistic about the results that they will be releasing. So that is number one. And then followed closely by it is NEO, which is number two on the Easy Equities most bought list. And the Shanghai car maker company is definitely playing in the same space as Tesla. And you can see people have a lot of appetite for this sector that we find Tesla and NEO playing in. And NEO had a good set of results. I think it was in May where they reported over 7,000 vehicles were delivered, which was a 125 increase from the same period last year. So it's no surprise to see it at number two on the most bought list.
Okay, and the rest of the rest of the top five of the international purchases by Easy clients.
And number three, we've got Apple. And just like the rest of the investors in the world, easy equities investors fear to have gotten over the concerns of the slowing growth, which was caused by the antitrust action that's happening around Apple. And I think I saw when I was looking at the Apple charts, I saw a, a buy point on Wednesday after the rebounding from the spring sell-off. So I think the easy equities community is seeing that the antitrust concerns are starting to go away and people are starting to invest into Apple again. And then fourth, we have the cannabis stock. Um, Alec, do you have a guess what that stock
Not a
is?
clue. Not a clue. I just know Labat in South Africa, but of course it's an
Starts
offshore
with a T,
stock.
Alec.
Not a chance. I don't know the cannabis shares outside my circle of competence.
We've got Tilray, which is really doing the rounds in the investor community. I mean,
Oh,
the easy equities investors are high on the stock, but not as high as the Reddit users. And I mean, everyone is enthusiastic about what's happening with cannabis, and it's no surprise to see the stock there. I mean, the shares have went up year to date close to 160, but over the
mm,
past 3 months has gone down by 10%. And I don't think it's the end of the cannabis boom. I think it's really just starting.
interesting. Okay, so have any of you guys been buying Labat here in South Africa? The only cannabis stock on the JSE
I actually haven't. I'm
hasn't
more
registered. Huh?
nah, nah,
Mm,
not on my side.
interesting.
But ending off the top five of the US companies on that were bought on Easy Equities is Amazon, which is really one big company that people love. And people believe that Amazon is well on its way of being a dominant player on everything it touches. I also believe that the sum of the parts are greater than the value of the whole. So I'm a personal holder of call it sentimental value in the share. So for me, leave Amazon alone. I'll remain long. Break up the firm parts. I will still remain long. And yeah, I'm an Amazon lover, and that rounds up the top five at Easy Equities.
Well, there's certainly some good news for you. It came through yesterday from our partners at the Wall Street Journal that the antitrust action, the first of them that began against Facebook, was thrown out by a Federal Reserve, by a federal judge. All 46 states they had it thrown out of court. So it isn't a done deal, this antitrust. And the other side of the coin, the analysts do reckon, the Wall Street guys say that if antitrust it does go forward, it's going to be very good for the companies themselves. They'll probably just be stopped from buying other companies to increase the size of them. So they reckon that this could be, in the short term, 5 to 10 years, very good for Amazon, Apple. They're in my portfolio as well. So we are aligned with that. Well, Lesedi Mfolo is with Easy Equities. And thanks as always for bringing us up to date at the end of the quarter. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot, Alec.
Yeah, good